with him today, and he mounted up 1,056 Success Club points. Wow. Signed 333 coaches since January. And this is with a full-time job running his own orthodontic practice where he's the only orthodontist in the office. And Wayne Wyatt is our top coach. It's a very big deal. And guess what? Every one of you have the potential of being the top coach in here. It's just a decision. Did my button go? Oh, are you making fun? Oh, good job, Wayne. You're so much shorter than I remembered. No, what's cool about Wayne is, I mean, he's a super humble guy, and he's just like, he just stood up on stage and he just goes, I just did it. I just did I made the call. He's like, I'll see a patient, tighten some braces, and then he'd go check Facebook for 2 minutes, and then he'd see the next patient, tighten some braces, go do some Facebook, do a little bit. Literally, he would do that all day. He's like, when I'm at work, I'm working. He goes, and you know, I love the idea of having the second income without the second job, as we like to say, but he would do it in a way that helped people feel like they weren't being sold, okay? What our job is not to sell stuff. That is the drastic distinction between us and any other MLM. I would not be in the multi-level marketing business if not for the approach. The way I presented this to Tracy was that we were going to do this in a way that that I could feel comfortable representing to my friends and family, that the product I was representing to them was not going to be some big load-in. Here, Mom, are your water filters. Good luck selling them. Thanks so much for the check. That's not what this was going to be about. This was going to be about, without having to take a bunch of inventory, creating some accountability so people would get real results. Chris Simone and I spent hours toiling over the message, the positioning, and we didn't get it all right, but we got enough right that here we are right now with something over 65,000 coaches, growing every day. We win some, we lose some, but it's a commitment that we've made that is truly impacting people's lives. And every time that you get rejected, every time that things go tough, know that you could go through 100 rejections. And in fact, you should chase down 100 rejections so that you get that one person who loses 150 pounds. And all those 100 rejections are going to be so worth it. And by the way, I don't know if anybody else had this experience. I talked about it in Boston a little bit, that you know how October, November, God, I'm talking to everybody, I'm talking about challenge packs, I'm talking, nobody's buying this stuff. I'm talking to everybody. I'm doing 2, 4, 5, 7, 10 exposures a day. I'm exposing myself to everyone. And they're not buying this thing. But how many people did all that work? Felt like they were sprinkling seeds on the parking lot out there, and you're like, where's the flowers? And then all of a sudden, January comes along. Raise a hand if all of a sudden those seeds are starting to come up that you laid down there in the last few months. That's what it takes. Yeah. That right there is how you get to Diamond, is how you get to Elite, is how you get to Tahiti. You keep on working it even when you don't feel like the thing is being productive. Because every time you have that conversation, it's just a sprinkle of possibility for that person. Your job is not to sell them. Your job is to try to get a little bit of an awareness of what problem they're having, and then help them. Don't sell it. Help them solve the problem. Don't sell, you solve. And I want to bring up a special guest because I learned a lot of this from her in a conversation, and I was so excited by what she's done that I had to bring her along on this trip with me. Amber Scott, if you can come up for a second. We'll share this microphone. So when we, coming out of leadership, when we launched the Challenge Pack business, I looked at this list. I got this list of sort of the leaderboard of who's been selling Challenge Packs. And I think she was at the top of the list. She had sold 18 Challenge Packs in the first month. And I was like, you know, what the heck? And so I was driving home I was going to pick up Ava from ballet, and I'm in the car phone, and I was like, you know, dialed up. Hi, Amber, it's Carl Daikeler from CEO. She's like, it is not. He's like, no, really. Click. I'm like, no. Hi, Amber. No, she didn't hang up on me, but she was a little bit surprised and everything. And the amazing thing is how you did this full-time job. But what I want to, and if you haven't heard the coach call that we did the day after Christmas, was it? Okay, it's really a good call because we just had this conversation, but I wanted you to hear firsthand just how amazing she has done with this concept of challenge packs, which is really what we started with, what Beachbody has always been, or what has evolved to, and that is putting these 4 pillars together: fitness, nutrition, peer support, and financial reward. So when you first got going, we've had this conversation now 5 times, so let's make it fresh. Okay. So when you first, you know, a year ago, what was your rank?
Coach.
She was a coach a year ago. What's your rank now?
Diamond.
How much based on your income in October to your income in first week of November, or whatever, when things happen with the challenge pack, how much did your income grow?
My weekly income was my monthly income back in October.
So it grew by a factor of 4 when you started promoting the challenge packs. Now, how did you manage to sell the challenge packs? Because, well, you're probably a super salesperson. You probably have the gift of gab, and you are awesome at selling people and getting at it and closing. You're a closer.
No. I was actually pretty infamous for my general dislike for other people. Sort of. I don't talk to anyone ever, and I like to work alone. And I was the only person at my company that had their own office, so I could shut the door.
Okay, so you weren't a people person, you weren't a big talker. How did you sell 18 challenge packs then?
Well, obviously I had to get to the point where I was confident to talk to people, but the basis was just caring about what they needed and listening to them, and not making it about sales. I don't have sales skills, so it was just about caring and listening. So I went through a process with everybody that approached me, and I had been doing this the whole time I've been coaching. I went through a process where I asked a series of questions, finding out about what their nutritional downfalls were, where they were having, what they wanted out of a workout, and what they'd like to do. What sort of things were holding them back from meeting their goals, time restrictions, bunch of kids, not time for breakfast, things like that. And I would already be replying to them with a 3-part plan that included some sort of nutritional that could be reoccurring, so Shakeology or recovery formula, etc. And then a workout program that I felt, would meet their needs, would set them up for success because it was right for them. And then some sort of nutrition situation, whether it be, sign up for the club, I'm going to have you do the meal planner, or hey, join my healthy eating group on Facebook, we post recipes and we do accountability. So I was working in a 3-part system that really encompassed everything that they needed, and Beachbody just provided me a tool that made those resources cheaper for them and provided financial incentive for me, so it worked out really well.
So how important was your journey with Beachbody products? I mean, did that help open doors at all? And tell a little bit about that story.
It really did. My before and after picture is the one place that I get the most leads from. It's on Facebook, and I get the most emails and texts and stuff from that, because my information's right on it. Because I have lost 76 pounds using Shakeology. Using Shakeology and Turbo Jam is where I started. And so from day one, I was on Shakeology and Beachbody programs. It's really, really easy for me to honestly, passionately tell someone, it's going to work. Look, I did it. These are the steps. I had an accountability group because I had coaches and I had friends that were doing it. I had the Shakeology, I had the workout. I'm going to give that to you. And they see it and they're like, well, if that's how you did it, I'm in,
So you're a product of the product. You're working the challenge. You're working the game plan, basically. How had you been working the game plan all year long?
I had. It was very helpful for me to have this opportunity given to us by Beachbody to have these challenge packs, because since I had been building a base of people all year by talking to 2 or more people every day, when November came, I had a list of people that I had started talking to, in October, saying, hey, this is coming up. I know this would be perfect for you because you have this goal, or we had this conversation. Hey, remember that text message you sent me in February or whatever about something that you wanted? I know someone's getting married. I had this database of people to start with because I had been working the game plan the whole time.
Now, we're going to get into today with the video, you're going to get into the team challenge that's happening, right? The Success Club Team Challenge, where you put 5 coaches together to hold each other accountable. Now, you were talking a little bit about, on the plane, you were talking about the importance of coach accountability when you were not comfortable talking to people, and how that coach accountability helped you sort of get over the hump. Can you tell a little bit about that, the grocery store?
I actually had an accountability partner, and we would text each other every day with who we talked to that day, so it had to be at least 2 people. Did we drink our Shakeology? Did we work out? And it was just before the end of the day, you had to text them. And we challenged each other to talk to someone we didn't know, because it was not our thing for either of us. We were both terrified. And so I remember it was getting toward the end of the afternoon, and I was like, I have to talk to somebody, I haven't done it yet, I've got to text her soon. And so I'm standing in the grocery store, I was at Vaughn's, and I'm just standing there. I'm sure I was so awkward looking. I was like, and I just sort of spit it out, like, do you live around here? I was like, I'm not gonna hit on you or anything, I'm just asking. It felt really strange. And she was like, yeah? And I just sort of vomited this spiel about Fit Club on her, because we were starting a Fit Club. And she was open to it, and mentioned, oh, the bagging girl would probably be interested. And I gave out business cards, and now obviously I get their contact information because I've learned a few things, but it was good enough first exposure. But it gave me the confidence to say, okay, well, she didn't yell at me, no one threw anything at me, they kicked me out of the store, I could probably do this again. So the next place I was going was actually the deli, and I did it again, and I just invited all of the girls at the deli to the Fit Club, because it was girls only, and handed out business cards again. And what happened was, by pushing myself out of my comfort zone, it's become my comfort zone. I'll talk to anyone. The girl who made your Shakeology this morning, actually, I got her email address after you left. So it's one of those things where...
So did I.
Well, I'm going to sell her Shakeology. That's your business. So she started talking to me. She was washing out my Shakeology cup, and she was like, how is this different from other protein powders? And I just said, it's a whole meal. It's got all of these ingredients. I explained to her